I'm so excited.
Ooh.
Sorry, it took us like a whole hour, but we're prepared. Eskel's taught me one thing, that you need to be prepared for stuff. I'm serious. He's really good at preparing. And I'm just kind of like, if I'm not doing it now, I'm never doing it.
Well, we got through it, so I'm glad. Let me just pull it up on my tablet here really quick.
Let me turn the light on just in case.
Yeah, it looks a teeny bit dark. So yeah, any light would be great. It's funny because it's raining and it's pretty cloudy. We had the window open, hoping that it would bring in a lot of light, but it's actually getting pretty cloudy outside right now. But welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us. This live it's going to be a special one. We have the guest from before, Abigail, and if you can tell, I didn't even put it in the title, but in the cover, we're talking about her first time ever visiting the order. And it's unique because she's actually one of the only ones that I know, like out of anybody, that has visited the order. And that's not an order member, obviously. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that today. I'm excited. It should be a good one. So welcome, Dominic. Welcome, Caitlin, Flinker, Emma, Emily, Rochelle, Ruby, Christina. Welcome, guys. Heck yeah.
We are at my house, so if you hear my kids, sorry.
Mm-hmm. Yes, but they are very cute little kids, so I don't mind if they come and interrupt us at all. This should be fun. But all right, sweet. I got everything pulled up. Let's just dive right in. This, like I said, she is one of the only ones that I know of. They got to, first of all, visit the Order Church and like go to one of the church services. She's also been to one of the dances as well. And so we're going to dive into just talking a little bit about her
experiences. It's kind of funny because like, I don't think that's really like an uncommon thing, because I mean, like, out in the real world, I feel like anybody could just go. Isn't that a normal thing to just go visit churches?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with a lot of churches, they're very welcoming and want you to come. But with the order, it's super rare. That's why I feel like this is a great opportunity to kind of see what your perspective on it. And what's nice is that I feel like you had an outside perspective on it, and you kind of just saw it as a regular church when you first were introduced to it, right?
Well,
you didn't know a whole lot about it, right?
Just kidding. Yeah, no. I just went because I went to go visit, my family, my aunt and my cousin, and it was Sunday, so I went to church,
Nice.
Because that's what they did when they were at my house.
Sweet. And
or my other cousin, yeah, what do you mean?
Yeah, and our relationship is, so we're cousins, but her family is also the one that kind of took me in when I left. And so last week, if you saw, we were at her family's home out in Colorado. We were out visiting them. We have the same Grandpa Ray, number 93 from the order. So
number 93, that is so funny.
Yeah,
you
that's
say
his
that.
number.
He got to, sorry.
Yeah, but it's funny because we have the same grandpa, and that's kind of like your only connection, I guess, to the order. So you know a little bit about it. That's how you're related to it and everything. Mm. But you've never been in the order. You're not an order member at all. And so you were an outsider looking in when you got to go visit. So I guess what was if you remember, do you remember the earliest age you were when you knew my family was a polygamous family?
Got exposed, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I remember my dad kind of always hinting at that his sister went and married some guy at some church. That's all he would kind of say. And I'm like, okay, I didn't really think much of it. And then, yeah, just little things that kind of, I mean, you could tell something was up, but like I shared the actual moment was when we were driving home one day. We had just visited you on because we take, family vacations every summer, and sometimes, I mean, we switch, one time we go to, see my mom's family, the other time we would go usually to see, my dad's side of the family, because that's just kind of how it works. And then, and I just kind of slowly noticed that we would slowly less hang out with my dad's side of the family. And then, that one time after we were just hanging out, at my aunt's house, we would even stay at your house, or I don't think we were staying at your house that time, but we came and just did, visit you.
Mm-hmm.
We had a great time, played some games, and we're just driving home, and my mom goes, "That was so fun, wasn't it?" And we were all tired, and she goes, "Don't you think that if you didn't know, or wouldn't you?" So I remember how she said it, but she basically said, like, if you didn't know that they were different, would you think that they were a normal family? And I'm like, they are a normal family. What are you talking about? And then my dad was like, what? You mean what do you mean you haven't noticed that, that there's only one dad and a ton of kids, is basically what he said. I mean, I could always tell my dad kind of had a stink about something, you know. And well, no, really, it was I don't know, just again, just a girl asking questions. But yeah, so that's yeah.
And how old were you at that time? You know, because
14?
this is kind of your first.
Like 14,
okay,
yeah.
First time you're kind of like realizing what's happening. Okay, and so how many wives does your dad have?
Can't keep a straight face.
Sorry. Amanda asked all the people she interviews this question, so I thought it would be funny to ask it too.
I know. I was so okay. We could. My dad has one wife.
Okay, and so
I know that's good.
Your mom is wife number one, then.
My mom. Yeah.
Nice.
Yes. I know. It's kind of yeah.
Nice. Sweet. And so.
And all of us kids. I mean, I feel like growing up, you know, the common question is like, "Oh, is your mom and dad divorced or not?" You know, but it's like, I don't know. Do they ask that question in the order like, "Hi, I'm Mary, and I'm the fourth wife of my 42-year-old uncle"?
No, they don't do that. But I do remember even just at a gas station. I remember one time being like, just a random stranger was like, "Where's your dad?" And I was like, "Oh, that's my dad." And then also some of my half siblings would be like, "Yeah, that's my dad too." And so they knew we all were pointing to the same guy as our dad, and it was a bunch of us kids, you know. So I think either people just thought he had a ton of kids, or they could figure it out. But I don't know. And we would even call each other half brothers, though. So I think it was pretty easy. In fact, there's a really funny story of where this is actually one of my sister's stories. But she was hanging out with her half sisters, right? And they were talking to an outsider, and they were like, "Yeah, this is my sister, and we're only 2 months apart," or something like that. So they were all like, "Wait, you mean like a year and 2 months, right?" And she's like, "No, just 2 months apart." And they're like, "And your sisters, okay?" Because it was true, but one was from one mom and one was from the other mom, and they were just 2 months apart.
So they probably were used to
yeah,
all these polygamists everywhere.
They just told on themselves. It was really funny.
No.
But like when you're young, they were probably like 14 or 15 at this time, talking to this stranger, and not like, you know, they are so innocent about it. They don't realize that that's weird.
That's kind of an interesting thought. I don't know if anybody else thinks about this, but like I think of stigmas all the time, you know? I mean, you kind of I feel like you kind of have to. I mean, like, I don't want the stigma of a lazy mom, you know, a lazy mom. And then so I do everything I can to try not to have that stigma. Do people in the order think about having the stigma of having like the plig vans and the crazy like 14-year-olds driving 15 kids in a car? Do you want a stigma of something? What do you want your stigma to be? Because what do you put, or what do you want your message to be? I guess I don't really know what I'm trying to say.
No, but I like, that's the whole reason why I want you on here, because you're gonna have a different perspective on this, and so the questions you ask, it is gonna seem weird, because like I feel like that with the stigma, I don't think that, especially the individual order members, they're like super worried about the stigma or like the specific message they're giving out to the people, because they're a little bit more in what I would call survival mode. You know, they're really focused on making sure they're pleasing the one above them. They're really focused on going to church, like following all the rules that they have and stuff like that. So it is very different. But I think for a lot of people, they would wonder kind of if the order members think about those specific things, or why sometimes it's so obvious. You look at a polygamous family and you just can tell, you know, like they don't have a father that's
can you take your whole family out to dinner? Like, okay, the goals here, like, well, isn't it the happy family goal to have your whole family around a dinner table? But you can't, because it's illegal in your town to be married to more than one wife and to marry your family. So you can't. I mean, like, that's, if somebody, I can't, at that point, I can't even live my life, you know what I mean? Like, I just want to live my life. I want to take...
And I think some of the order members
have to hide. You have to hide. Why would you want to...
I have heard of order families, they would have, like, you know, take all 3 of their wives to the movies together, and there'd be one guy and 3 of his wives just going to the movies together. And I think, I mean, it's funny because it's illegal, but like they're not just gonna, I feel like a lot of people don't just assume, or they're not gonna, like, I don't know, report someone they saw at the movies that might be doing this or that or whatever, you know.
That's an
so
interesting
you can
point.
get away with quite a bit. It's kind of interesting for sure.
Can.
But
hi, how are you?
Welcome. You want to say hi, Danzel?
You look
say
so
hi to the camera
right now.
Hi.
I mean, you always look beautiful.
This is Danzel, everybody.
This is my Danzel. Say hi.
She's your oldest daughter, huh?
Who is that?
Ask me questions.
she's getting a lot more talkative. Every time I come visit, then she gets better at remembering my name and saying hi and telling me her stories. It's a lot of fun.
How old are you,
It's so
Denzel?
cool.
3
He's 3. And when's your birthday?
and 7.
Start working on that.
Do you see yourself? See, that's what it sees on the camera right there.
Who is that?
Got some tea?
Who is that, Mom?
That's a lot of people.
Where?
Right there in that little circle.
Okay, yeah, and a lot of you guys, I've seen so many comments where people are like, can I visit the order? Would they let me walk in their church? Like, how does it go and stuff? And technically you can, even though it's really hard, but Abigail is living proof that someone can go
Well,
and
I
visit.
walked
It's kinda
in
funny.
with your mom.
Yeah, she went with order members, because it's kind of funny, like, you basically have to have someone that gives you that VIP access or something, someone that gets you through the gates and through the doors and stuff like that.
Did you think it was weird when I was going with you? Because we all came the same time, right? It was me, your mom, you, and maybe your 3 younger siblings.
Mm-hmm. Well,
did you think that you were standing out bringing me with you to church?
Oh yeah, everyone was kind of looking because everyone knows everyone, but no one knew who Abigail was. So I feel like a lot of people were watching and seeing like who she was and stuff. Yeah, and because she was a pretty girl, I think she got a lot of attention. A lot of people were looking for sure. And it wasn't weird for me to bring her to church because like in my head I was a very strong dedicated order member, and I was like, we're supposed to bring people to church. We're supposed to be like a good Christian community and invite people, bring people in. But what got like hit me and I couldn't help but feel weird about it was when she went to the order dance though, and
really
like
that
there
was
were
the
people
weirdest
there.
part
Yeah,
to you?
because I was like,
that's
this is
their
where
dating
I go.
grounds,
Yeah, this is like where I'm gonna be dancing with girls. I'm gonna find my wife. Like you need to go home.
Because you didn't want to marry me,
place
so
for yeah, and I didn't really want other people to think that they could. I guess too. Like I was just like, I don't know. I felt like she was out of her environment. I guess it was kind of funny.
Oh, so you didn't think I belonged there?
Yeah, I guess so.
Why didn't you think I belonged?
Well, the biggest reason is because there's married men, old people walking around the dances asking girls to dance with. I didn't want them coming to you.
Did
and being
you
like,
see any married guy dance with me?
No, I don't remember because I only remember you dancing with like one person.
Yeah, I only danced with one person.
Yeah,
and he didn't look married.
Yeah, he was probably younger, huh?
Yeah.
I remember being a younger person.
I do remember him being awkward a little bit, but honestly, I was a little bit. I'm sorry, this is kind of harsh, huh? I'm proud of whoever that was because I think that. I guess I kind of knew. Everybody at that age is awkward in general, at dances. Because, I understand that you do want to find somebody to date, you know what I mean? Not somebody to marry on the first time you talk to them, but, you do want to date. Okay, whatever. So.
Lulu says, you were being protective, Eskel. I think I was. And I just didn't feel like she was ready, I guess. Because I didn't think that she understood how everything worked. And I was just kind of like. It was weird. I felt like she didn't really belong, and I didn't want her to get creeped out or anything. So I was just,
But it was fine because I was just going with my mom and dad and my cousins to a dance.
Mm-hmm.
A fun church dance. And I was actually a little bit encouraging because I loved the ones at my church.
Yeah, and was this the age where you knew we were polygamous, or was this before that you knew?
No, I knew you were polygamous. So I guess I'll admit, I knew what I was stepping into. I knew there was going to be some weird people. Weird. So maybe that's what I was trying to get at. I was proud of whoever I talked to because I felt like I was able to ask them questions pretty smoothly to a certain extent, about my grandpa and stuff. I was just like, so I don't even remember what I asked him really, but I was like, oh, what do you like to do or whatever.
And was it you that asked? Because like. Our grandpa is on the wall in the church building. You asked about that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think because, we're just getting to know each other, and I was like, maybe he asked me how many siblings I had. I honestly don't remember how it came up, but I just remember, like, that's my grandpa. And he's like, oh, or whatever, and I'm like, why is he up there? Just asking questions. Sorry, but.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Dang, that's wild. So what did you think was more strange, the church service or the dance, I guess?
The church service probably.
Church service itself. Yeah. Okay. Did you have any like first impressions when you walked in? Like what was going through your mind? Because you did know a little bit there was like a polygamous group and that it was probably going to be a little different than normal. And was it? And what was that like for you?
I remember like my aunt being kind of hesitant, just a little bit, like, you want to go to church with me? You know, and so that I first of all that kind of hesitant. I was like, oh yeah, of course I do. I want to more now. What are you hiding? You know what I mean?
You want to go get a sneak peek?
No, anyway, but I remember like I didn't bring a dress or whatever, and so I had to borrow one, and the one was it was kind of skimpy, and I wear some really high heels, and I was like, I would have never been able to wear that at my church. So that was the first kind of thing that I was allowed to kind of like be more revealing and immodest. I mean, I don't think what I wore was bad. I just, from off the top of my head, it sounded like, I don't know, what is modesty? I mean, that's a kind of another topic. But anyway, so I walk in.
I would imagine you'd be more self-conscious knowing that there's a lot of creepy old people probably staring at you and stuff, right? Or did that even cross your mind? Did you think about that? Or was it
you can't, as a girl, I feel like you can't let that cross your mind. Because
you were kind of young, right?
Yeah, obviously you wear things to attract certain people, right? But I mean, I wasn't thinking about it at that time. Anyway, what were we talking about?
What about the fact, because I want to talk a little bit in reverse, because I visited her church for the first time, the LDS church, and I remember being like, it is so nice, so clean.
I know what you want me to say.
Feels like a church, but like, what, like, that's got to be weirder, because my church, I remember being so different.
Yeah, okay, so, that wasn't the first time I've been inside your church, though. The first time I've been inside your church was when my grandpa died, and we had the funeral there, and I remember thinking, it was good food. I remember it being good food, but I remember thinking, like, where are we? Like, it didn't look like a garage, it didn't look like a home, it didn't look like a church, it didn't really look like anything. There was, like, I couldn't decide if it was an abandoned building, or if it was, anyway, I mean, I felt comfortable because my parents were there, and so I was like, Mom, where are we? I'm like, and she just said, this is their church's church, they're just hosting this, and so I was like, oh, okay, just as a kid, you just took the answer. And then coming back later, I was like, put it together. And I did hear my dad say things like, yeah, that's their church building, Look at how crummy that is. Sorry, Dad, but I mean, my dad has called people white trash before. Who deserved it? I'm sorry. I mean, sometimes you have to, and this is harsh, huh? Anyway.
No, I said, like, you can
So, you did not see nice cars. You saw a broken down building, okay? This is a church who... Okay, I'm sorry, like the basic things, guys, when you walk into a home and you smell food cooking and you see it's clean, you see people that are clean and happy and fed, you know that needs are being met. When you walk into a building and you see something that is broken, that's being neglected. When you see a car that's broken down, that's being neglected. When you see a mom that is broken down, who feels depressed, who looks depressed, she's being neglected. Where is your focus in this church? And all I saw was crazy men manipulating so many women, thinking that they could produce these kids with no future in mind. What is your motive? Like the spirit there? I mean, I didn't want to be a part of it. And then but I knew that already because of my dad, of how I didn't know what it was about. I had still lots of questions for you, you know what I mean? But the feelings.
Nice. I'm glad that you could tell and see that, though, because I feel like they do try to kind of like suck people in. That they're supposedly trying to say that people are invited and are welcome to come, even though it rarely happens and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, it's super obvious. I feel like the truth will always come through. People can tell. People can know what your motives are a lot of the times and stuff like that. Really quickly, though, I just want to take a quick pause and say welcome, Dylan, because Dylan just commented and said hi to everyone. He was on my last live. It was a lot of fun. And someone asked him a question, I think. They said, that's what makes them dangerous. They look normal and they suck you in. LOL. That's so true. Well, at least they tried to.
Eskel was fun. I knew that there was, you were why I was there, really. And I like to hang out with my aunt, too. And you were my family. And I was just trying to figure out what your life was about.
Yeah, really. And that's what's so interesting because my mom is your dad's full sibling, right? And so they grew up together. They have similar personalities and kind of like thought process and stuff like that. And so I feel like my mom raised me a little bit more the way your dad raised me, even though we had a big twist to the way we were raised because my dad interfered with a lot of it and made it a little bit harder and more strange and stuff like that. But when you came around my family, your cousins, and you wanted to like be like friends with them, you wanted to be more interactive with them, and like that was probably a little bit hard, right? Because we were like so surprised or unsure of how to interact with outsiders, I guess, and stuff like that.
Oh yes, so. I'm glad you brought that up because that was huge for me. Because my dad tried to bring me around his family because You know, that's his family. Like, he didn't have anything to hide. They did. They probably, like, did you guys, like, try to keep outsiders away? Because, I mean, did you, I have so many questions. This is like, did your dad think about this? About marrying an outsider that his wife is going to want to go visit visit her brother. You know what I mean? I mean, my dad told me stories about when he was little and how much fun it was growing up with his aunt or his sister. So I want to go meet his aunts. You know what I mean? And I remember sitting and you know, both my aunt, well, you know, kitchen and eating eggshells and playing with my cousin who now has, you know, a very different life than what I ever thought that she. You know, I don't want to see my cousin living that kind of a life. I mean.
And I don't want to glaze over
think
that
my
because that's
sister-
that's a really big point.
I don't think my dad wants to see his sisters like that either. I remember, like, I mean, kind of know. I mean, knowing it was polygamy before my dad. I remember asking like more about their story. You know, like how my mom and dad dated and bringing up. Correct me if I'm wrong, but like he said that the hardest part about asking like my mom to marry him was if after he told her about the polygamy stuff that if she was going to reject him because of how weird his family was, but she was like, no, of course you're not going to go back to that. And then my mom did mention that, like...
Who are you talking about?
I guess my dad just mentioned that he was scared at one point that when he told my mom about the whole polygamy thing that she would turn away. You know what I mean? But she didn't. Anyway, but that at one point, like, she mentioned... My mom... Okay, whatever. My mom mentioned to me how she would talk to her, you know, her half-sisters... Like, or not half sisters, sorry. Sister-in-laws. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I would hope that I would have a good relationship with my sister-in-law, you know, like just talking like sisters. You know what I mean? She would just talking to them, and then can I say?
Try not to say names. You can say my mom, but
your mom's name? Okay,
yeah,
whatever. Okay,
that's probably it.
my other aunt. I say that my other aunt was talking to my mom, saying that, oh, how are you going to do it when he marries another wife? You know, and she's like. Weird. She's not going to. I'm just coming around you. Let's talk about something else. It's not gonna happen. Don't prepare me for something that's never gonna happen.
Wait, this is your mom?
My mom was talking to.
So was your mom and dad a little bit in denial that their sister was gonna marry, like, their sister's husband was gonna marry multiple girls? Did they not think that was gonna happen?
Wait, say that again?
Did your mom and dad not think that their sister, my mom, was going to marry, or her husband was going to marry other women?
No, they did. No, he did.
Okay.
But remember, they got married in secret, so my dad didn't even know that they.
Well, for a little while, right?
Yeah.
He found out,
so he couldn't even do anything about it if he wanted to. Who can? Even if you can do, nobody can tell somebody what to do.
Yeah, and that's a confusing, because I'm glad you brought up the point about with my dad, you know, I wonder what he was thinking, because he was marrying an outsider, right, trying to bring them into the order, but he's marrying them, and you know, with marriage, it's practically you're marrying the whole family, so like, did he expect to just steal her away from the family and cut everyone off, or was he wanting to welcome the whole family? Like, I wonder what the thought process on that was, because just like that, your dad is her brother, and
so like, so nice sometimes. I am so surprised at how just forgiving sometimes he is.
And I do know for a fact, in the beginning, when my mom first got married, then her siblings, like your dad, would come around and they would do events. They would like come to, of course, the family reunions and like do stuff. And it was kind of like being involved with order events and the outside events with their family, you know? And I know in the beginning they did that quite a bit. And I think over time it became less and less and less. And it's just kind of like, I don't know what their plan was with that. I don't know why they would marry an outsider and then just kind of like expect them to stop hanging out with their family and stuff like that, you know? It just seems really weird. But yeah. That's what I saw happening. Because in the beginning, they were really close siblings. They would do stuff together. And then over time, they just stopped doing stuff. And even now today, you know, your dad and my mom rarely see each other. If it's even like every few years. They'll say hi.
They used to up until a couple of years ago. This is just awkward. I feel like it's more awkward for our parents in a way because we're just kids trying to figure out the questions about our family. You know what I mean? It would help. I mean, you're not entitled to. They're not entitled to.
Well, it would help so much if our parents would just get along and communicate and work things out. That would be the best. But it's tough. I don't feel like that would work out super easily.
That's when you're I mean, but we never really answered one of your questions. I'm curious. Like, did you ever feel like you were acting? That you had to watch how you were acting in front. Did you ever feel like you didn't know how to act in front of me, your cousin?
Oh yeah, especially when we would first hang out, like the first few family reunions, like I'd meet up with you, I'd be like,
So
I can't tell her I'm a polygamist. No way.
Oh,
like,
so you knew you were different,
mm-hmm.
and you knew that.
Yeah, because it did take me a while to figure out who my dad was, but by the time I was like 9 or 10, I realized like we're in an interesting religion. I guess I didn't use the title of polygamist very much. I just thought we were a religious family, and our religion and beliefs are surrounded by having multiple women and doing things differently than most other religions and groups and stuff. So I was kind of trained at a young age to be pretty careful about how I share the stuff, how I talk about it. Even like I was literally trained to tell people when they ask, so where's your dad at? And I'd always be like, oh, a business trip or at work. I literally would even say sometimes, my dad sleeps at work, because if they'd be like, he's never home, where's he at? Oh, he sleeps at work, yeah.
Who told you that?
That was my mom. She would tell us to, because she, like, I feel like she
so
was even
loving.
unsure of how to like
sweet
address it and
darling,
stuff.
your daddy will never be home.
She didn't say that. Come on. You gotta see it from our perspective.
I know, it just sounds dumb to me, so I have to make it a cartoon.
Yeah, that's why I laugh so much about it. Sometimes it is really sad, like a dramatic thing that I'm talking about, and I'll just be laughing because I don't know how else to not just start crying about it, or like want to just stop completely.
I thought that Eskel, I forget that you were not the sheltered ones. I was, to know that people like you existed. I feel like, I don't know, it should be the opposite.
It's funny. It's so surprising that there's so many people in Utah that think polygamy is over and polygamy is not a thing anymore. And it's like, are you kidding me? How do you not know? Like, what? It's so funny.
Yeah.
But it's different for everyone. I feel like everyone gets exposed in different ways, and it's like, that's why I love hearing from other people's perspective. That's why I'm also planning, there's other people that have never been affiliated with any polygamous group at all. Well, there's one in particular I'm thinking about that I'm going to be interviewing him on my Patreon this Wednesday. And just to be able to ask things from someone that like, because to me it's a little bit funny that they just didn't know, they had no idea. And a lot of it's just like maybe their parents never taught them or what, I don't know. But there are people that just don't think it's a real thing, or they just pretend like it's not, which is fine. I'm sure some people don't want to believe that it exists and stuff like that. If they really grew up thinking that it doesn't exist, and then me telling them, like, I came from this and this is what it was like, I want to kind of see what their reaction is like and stuff like that, you know? But because I feel like the reason why yours is so unique is because you were involved with us at a young age before you even knew we were polygamists. So you kind of like saw us as cousins and family members first, and then you saw that we were polygamists. I think that would be different because you already saw us as friends. You already wanted to like hang around us, and then you realized that we were polygamists and stuff.
Family.
Well, yeah, that and everything.
And that was super upsetting to me. It's just like how I couldn't be. I mean, it was weird. It was almost like they ignored me at family reunions. Like they didn't know how to respond. Like, I mean, I don't know.
All of like my family members and stuff.
I mean, maybe it's huge assumptions, but like I could kind of tell that like people were flirting with people that shouldn't be flirting with people. Like I feel like sometimes you can just kind of tell that. Like if somebody, I don't know, or maybe it's just a girl instinct, which is probably good. Anyway, I'm going off on tangents just because I feel like a lot of it doesn't make sense, and I'm trying to make it make sense because. I don't know. Yeah. What am I trying to say? Okay, family reunions. Yeah, knowing you when you grew up.
Ooh, I wish Eskel and Amanda could interview both their parents. You know how cool that would be? We probably have ruined that opportunity at this point because a few weeks ago I went to my dad and was like talking about getting a representative and stuff, and he was a little bit open to the idea, but lately we've been posting a lot of, we've been pointing out a lot of the order's like mistakes and the lies that they've been saying, and like just straight up the video Amanda made about the order website and all the things that were wrong with it that really got them upset, and they're kind of mad right now. And so yeah, there's a lot of tension right now that it's probably would not go well if we even invited them to come on our lives. But that would be awesome. It would be crazy to see the views, because like we've all kind of seen a little bit of my mom's, like she's had opportunities to share her point of view and share a lot, but we have never like ever gotten the opportunity to get my dad's opinion on things or get his viewpoint and his say.
He doesn't
on
have
it.
his own opinion. He's just pleasing other people.
That's what I wonder sometimes too, because
That's what vibe I get from
he
him.
is very strict to the law of one above another, you know, like because he's supposed to be an example for all of his kids to tie back to him and tell him everything. So I think he runs like everything to the person that's above him, and so sometimes I wonder if he even believes what he's saying when he just checks with that person, and if they say that that's what they believe or they say that that's the way it is, then he'll just say that's the way that it is, you know. I'm sure he has his own thoughts. He's a human being, but I think when you get in the habit of constantly going off of what someone else is telling you, then I would question if that's really what you believe, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting point.
But it would be interesting because, like, I bet to you and even to me to some extent, it's so hard for me to put myself in his shoes and see what is his logic behind how it is right and how it's not only okay what he's doing, but it's a good thing and how he's gonna get, I don't know, bonus points in heaven for what he's doing and all that, you know? It's even hard for me to fully understand that. And I lived in it. I've seen a lot of like how they convince you and what they say to make it sound better and stuff like that, but it still blows my mind. And I'd love to hear his perspective and his side. But I'm always talking to my dad through these channels and I don't get anything back from him. There's
I feel
a couple
like it
of
should
times,
be
but
easy for somebody to say what I believe in. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't go around preaching everywhere because not everybody wants to. If they want to, they'll ask me. But I don't think it should be hard. Like, you know, you should be able to ask me what I think about something, and I should be proud to answer that question.
Exactly. That's why that's kind of how I almost got him to get a representative, because I was talking to him about how if the order is so great and such a good thing, you guys should want to share it. I have a platform where you can have a representative share your beliefs and share information, and
Like,
it still didn't work
no,
out.
we don't
But the weird thing is, I feel like it's easy for him when I talk to him. He'll be like, "Yeah, we believe in polygamy. You have to have 3 wives to go to heaven." But he wouldn't necessarily want to say that in front of everyone. In front of everyone, he might say it a little differently, where they're like, polygamy is a good thing, but you don't have to live it and stuff like that.
Can you imagine
You know?
telling your sweet little girl that that's the way life is going to be? Like, does that seem like a perfect life? Because they read in these fairy tales that a king has 3 wives. What could you say to your sweet little daughter that would make her want to live that kind of a life? But imagine having that conversation. You are going to be prepared to marry a man that you're not attracted to, who's going to pump babies.
Bro.
Well, they have to, but it's the reality. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but when you're a kid, you believe in the tooth fairy. It's easy to convince kids, Abigail.
Okay, but I am a firm believer that if I want my kids to act like adults, I have to treat them like adults. I mean, to a certain extent, yes, they have a childhood.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you're right. It's like, to us, because we're adults and like we're kind of looking from our perspective now, it's really hard for us to ever want to like share that with our kids or try and convince our kids something like that. But I have grown up in it, and I can see how easy it can be to tell a kid every single day for the first few years of its life that something is a certain way, and for them to just not question it and be like, okay, yeah, like that makes so much sense, even when it makes no sense at all. They will believe it because that's all that they know. And so that's one of the hardest things that I found. Even Amanda sometimes will go on to big old rants and huge arguments about this, because some people will be like, I just don't understand. Like, you guys must have been like on drugs or like something. Something must have been majorly wrong with you guys to believe this stuff. And it's like, no, we were just kids. Like, you gotta be able to understand. Yeah, brainwashed. And like, when you start young, like, you can convince kids of just about anything. You really can. And it's like, we literally are lucky that we saw past it, that we had enough experiences in our lives to realize enough to question it and to find out for ourselves. Because that's the hard part. That really is. That's the difficult thing, when you're told every day not to question it, just to go with it, not to ask questions and to just listen to the one above you. But we were able to figure it out and find our own way. And it's just, that's what I feel like is the rare part. And it's hard for people to see that, but if you can put yourselves in the shoes of those older members that were growing up in it, and that's what their experience was like. So,
I mean, I understand it's hard, like leaving your whole family, you know, like starting a new life, but I mean, with the hope that, you know, you're gonna have a better one.
Mm-hmm. And right now, especially, well, like a lot of it is just, there's always tension when we put out videos, but right now I feel like there's extra tension. I don't know if they like announced in the order like Eskel and Amanda's lives are evil, or like their YouTube channel needs to be brought down or something. But people, order members, have been attacking Amanda's channel like way more than normal, and it's been yeah,
Are
a
you
lot of
ever
tension
nervous
and
they're
stuff.
gonna like vandalize property or like be really, really, really mean? Like, I guess I don't know. I guess that's like.
Well, I'm not worried that they're like gonna break into my house or anything, because honestly, if I caught any of that on film, that would help me a ton. You know, I don't think they're gonna do something that I can film and get them in more trouble. I am a little bit worried that they are going to, I don't know, try to do some sort of lawsuit or whatever to, like, I don't know, shut down my channel or something like that. I don't know how they word. I'm not doing anything illegal or anything like that, but I just feel like they're gonna do whatever they can to just, I don't know, get us to stop, even in like with just the criticism that they have, all of the mean comments that they sent to Amanda and stuff. Like, if she lets
If
it get
it's
to her, it might make her not post as much or something, you know, and stuff like that. And I just hope that that doesn't stop anything, you know. I hope that that doesn't get too crazy. But yeah, it's just interesting, and it's up to us though. Like, I don't even read the bad comments, honestly. If anything even sounds like it's about to be rude or anything like that, I just skip over it, because there's so many good comments. Like, I feel like I have such a good fan base, so many people that are like so supportive, that want to help, that like, why focus on the negative, you know, when there's so much good out there. So that's what I try to do. But I know my sister Amanda, she sometimes it gets to her, and it makes me feel for her a lot. And I want to just get rid of every mean comment ever. You know, I want to make it stop for sure. But it's tough.
Yeah.
Um, that's one of the things that makes Eskel and Amanda so amazing. They had no idea of the other, and yet still knew something was wrong. Yeah, when Amanda mentioned like having the glasses lifted off or something like that, I don't know how she related it, but it was like having, what did she say, having the oxygen mask taken off or something, and you could finally breathe for the first time. It's like, I could relate to that so much, because in the order you see one perspective, you only see one thing, and then when you go on, when you leave, you go on this other side of this circle, this community that you've been in your whole life, and then you see a whole new world. It's like, man, that is just the best way to relate it.
Explain that a little bit more. Like, from what exactly what was lifted off? Like, when you left, or when you realized that that was wrong?
No, because when I left versus being in the order, I don't feel like anything necessarily changed. I was the exact same person. The moment it changed, though, was when I realized that the fact that I was in the order or not in the order is not going to determine my eternal fate of like going to hell or whatever. Then that is when I was like, whoa, like, I can make my own decisions. I can still be a good person even though I'm not in the order. I can do so much more that I thought the order has convinced me I never would be able to do on the outside.
You were meant to fly, baby.
Yeah, it was just really interesting. But even more than that, like, I was so convinced that all the outsiders were out to get people, that none of them were nice. The order was, you know, the kingdom of God was where all the good people on the planet were, basically. And when I left and saw that that was not only incorrect, but like almost like the opposite, then that's when I was like, wow, okay, like, I'm so glad I came to this side and could see things, you know? And I try to explain that to people, like, all it really takes is for you to leave for a little bit, experience it on the outside, and then honestly, tell yourself you can go back. Because that's what I told myself. I was like, if it sucks on the outside, I'll come back. They got to let me come back. It's the kingdom of God. They're going to let anyone that's a good person come back, and I'm going to make sure I stay a good person. And then when I came to the outside, I was like, what? No way would I go back. Like,
Oh my goodness.
Well, the biggest thing was freedom, but then the other parts was that I was still able to be a good person. Something I thought I could never do on the outside. Like, I thought that if I left, I was going to be throwing away so much stuff. And then I still had it. And it was like, I don't know. It was just really cool. And like, it helps you realize that they were telling a lot of lies, you know? Once you actually go through and experience it, because it's almost like when people think they're gonna get struck by lightning by God, you know, and like they go and do something, and they I don't know, they think something bad's gonna happen, or they think they're cursed because people told them you'd be cursed if you do a certain thing, and they go and do it, and then nothing happens, and they're like, whoa, wow, I'm supposed to be dead right now or something. You know? It's just I don't know. That's the way I think of to explain it. That's kind of like how my mind interpreted it and stuff like that. But yeah, it's interesting.
Well, kind of like karma. If you're doing good things will happen to you, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to, I hate to make assumptions, but it's like, I feel like in the order, things like bad thing after bad thing after bad thing. Maybe I shouldn't say that, huh? That sounds really, really harsh. But you know what I'm saying, kind of? Like, I feel like a lot of them were just hoping, like, poor Dylan, you know? He's like, we're just been in a temporary housing for 7 years. How hopeful is that? You know what I mean? Like, you mean, like...
Melanie Brown says that she's never heard of the order or the AUB group.
That's good. I mean, because it's not, I shouldn't really be, I mean, like, yeah, to a certain, I don't know. I want to highlight more of, like, well, I don't know.
Okay, let's talk a little bit more about, like, the interactions that you had with order members, though, because I had lots of friends in the order at the time when I was still in the order, and you were kind of, like, coming around, like, being a little more involved. What was it like when there were no parents around and it was just kind of us order kids and all of us hanging out? What was that like for you?
I mean, it was pretty normal because kids are kids, you know, until their parents came around, and it was like...
Was it really normal?
Yeah,
huh.
for the most part. Well, for the most, and until you brought your friends around, and then you could definitely tell they're like, we're not supposed to talk to girls. I can't look at her. She's not existent. She's not sitting right by me. You know what I mean? Like, you can be in a conversation with me. It's not a crime. I'm a
Was
person.
it ever weird that, like, the most interaction they usually have is just like a handshake, and it's just like really long extended handshake?
No, you know what's weird about that is that it's my cousin trying to give me that kind of a handshake. You know what I mean? Because when we were growing up, we could be normal, like act like cousins, and then when I try to go give my cousin a hug, and he's thinking about if I'm a potential person. I mean, I didn't know if he thought that, but you know what I mean? Just the thought, though, was just a little weird. I mean, you have to admit, like, I never think that about my cousin, so why would it even be a possibility? I mean, you could just, I mean, like, you know, like the church service, you know, I wanted to go say hi to my aunt and hug my cousin, and it was like, oh, don't touch me like that. And I was like, but then, I guess, no, for the most part, I mean, I think they were just kids trying to have fun, you know? You guys were pretty fun because you had to make your own fun.
Together,
yeah, you were lots of fun. You were my crazy person I did crazy stuff with, but...
And I don't know if I even fully told you, but, like, for me, I got permission because I was with Abigail, and, like, she was my cousin. My mom and her parents, like, agreed for us to go and hang out and, like, go to, like, a haunted house or whatever we were doing. But
you had to get permission?
Oh, yeah,
what do you mean permission? Like, not just you asking your dad, can I go to the haunted house?
What? No, I never told my dad. I only asked my mom. I knew my dad would never say I could just go hang out with you. But
why?
But I never even told you this part about it. But
okay, sorry.
Anyways, the order friends we were hanging out with, it just seemed like a casual get together and hanging out, right? Yeah. But they had to sneak out. They did not get permission to come and hang out with you because that would have been against order standards.
So did their parents just think they went with their friend, other order friend to the
house? They thought it was just like the guys going to the haunted house or whatever. Like, they had no idea. And so that's the one thing that was like, I feel like to you it was very normal because, like, you can hang out with guys and it's no problem. You're just hanging out. You're friends. But in the order, that's like a huge, like, you can't do that. You're not supposed to.
You can't hang out with guys.
Just people of the opposite sex, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I do remember you mentioning, like, because I forget when your friends, like, he paid for something. I for some reason, I feel like I needed to pay him. So when I left, I think I left a note on his car with some cash. And he mentioned to you, or you mentioned to me something that he thought that was weird. That I had left, that I was, I guess, what was it? What did you say? Like, I don't know. I just remember.
You thought it was weird? Huh.
Like, I don't know what I'm really trying. It was just abnormal. You know what I mean? Like, you doing something like that should just be, thanks for gas.
Oh, but they probably thought it was a way bigger deal, huh?
I guess that's what I'm trying to get at. Yeah, it was just out of the normal when it wasn't out of the normal to me.
Mm-hmm. I see. Yeah, I bet there was a ton of things. I would not be surprised if, like, you glancing over and looking at one of them and they thought, like, oh, we're gonna get married. Like, way so overthinking funny. Something. All the time.
It was weird. I feel like you would have more questions for, like, me leaving. I think I always say I
had a ton of questions because, like,
I was asking you a ton of questions.
Yeah, it was definitely back and forth because I remember just the opposite. I remember when you gave me a hug, I was like, whoa, this is weird. Like, I don't know. Mm-hmm. It just was so different to me, so new, and it took a while to get used to as well. Like.
But I helped that our parents did bring us around each other. I feel like, did you ever feel, like scared to reach out to me and talk to me when those? Because we talked a lot at night, guys. Do you remember those?
I wasn't
remember
scared of you at all. I was scared of my parents finding out, maybe, or like I don't know.
Because did you have a secret phone? Was that phone that you would talk to me on? What was that?
It was my normal phone.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I guess I got lucky enough that I just got to have a phone, and like I got it taken away from me all the time for sure. But like.
I remember, do you want to talk about this, kind of jumping ahead a little bit, but do you want to remember how much adrenaline you had when you were like getting ready to leave? Remember the day you chose the one, you're like, I'm just going to see what's going to happen if I decide not to go to church or something, right? Mm-hmm. And so you told your dad, I'm not going to go. And so you just sat down there, and then you could hear him coming to try to find you or whatever. Mm-hmm. He jumps out his window and jumps the neighbor's fence to hide from his dad and just stays there.
I was so
Can you imagine? Like, what were you scared your dad was gonna do?
Well, I literally thought he was just gonna grab me and just drag me out to the car and just take me to church. And I was like, I ain't gonna let that happen. And here's the thing, it was funny because I was like not that aggressive of a person. So I was like, I don't want to fight my dad, but I don't want my dad to control me. So the only other option was to run away. Yeah. So.
Can you imagine? Okay, just the adrenaline you had to jump over a fence quickly. Like I can understand, but like I don't know if I felt. You know what I mean? Like I don't know.
Yeah. And it's like I didn't even care that the neighbor saw me and the neighbor was there. I was like, the neighbor is gonna be much nicer than my dad, so I'll deal with whatever he wants to talk to me about.
You just. Did he see you? I'm sorry. See, I'm over here like, so that guy, your friend that I met, like he's 17 and he's asking girls to marry him. And you're like, yeah, he is. And so I would ask him questions, about those kind of updates, like how's your friend doing? What's his life like? I talked to him. He feels like he needs to do this to please this person and get in this so he can get a better job. And I'm like, oh, I feel sorry for him. Hopefully his life gets better. And then, then we'll talk about how we can get Eskel over at my house.
Nice. But really quick, a lot of people in the comments are asking about how my mom left and she was able to go back to the order. And they're like, that's weird that some people can leave and come back. And
because your dad shows up at my house, walks in, like it's no big deal. I mean, I'm not one to judge, but if somebody does that to my house, I must leave her right there.
Yeah, my mom's situation was a little unique. You can definitely watch her episode and see a lot more about that. But I think the general rule, though, especially if you're a woman with kids, like it's a lot easier to go back. If you're a single man, then you literally have to pay like a $5,000 fee. Like it's a lot harder to be able to go back.
To get in? You have to pay a fee to get back to your church?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Does anybody pay the fee to go back?
I've heard that people have because here's the thing. I feel like some of the times, if you're like maybe nice enough, they won't make you pay the fee. But like, they don't have super strict rules. They're kind of just making things up as they go. But there are people that have left and gone back. Most of the time it's girls though, because for a girl that wants to go to the order, like they will let you. Like even you, Abigail, if you want to join the order, I'm almost certain they'd be like, come on in, you're a pretty girl. You got two beautiful
I already
daughters.
have a husband and 2 daughters.
No, not like that.
I'm so sorry. How can I take this seriously? I'm trying to make a joke out of it, but it's just not working.
Anyway, it is easier for girls, but I mean, theoretically, in the order's defense, which I usually don't ever want to defend them, but they claim anyone can come and join. Like, if you're just a regular outsider, and like, I don't know even where you go, I don't know how you petition or anything, but like, theoretically, you can go and join the order. Like, good luck with all of the stuff you'll have to go through and how crazy it'll be. But like, if you can go and do it with like a secret camera on or something, like that would be a cool documentary. I don't know. There's no chance for me anymore, or else I would go back and like have a little camera on my chest or something, and just like document everything.
They were very quiet. I couldn't hear anything at your church service. Hi. No, not yet. You guys are cute. All right, it's nice out there.
Oh yeah, it's getting heated in here, you guys.
I do feel like we have a lot to talk about still. We're just getting started.
Let's see. But a wife can leave and return. Yeah. I would assume you can back, but maybe not after long. What? But here's the weird thing. It's like there are their guideline rules that they like say and teach, But then just the aspect of like when my family did go back, they were not treated the same. They were almost treated as lesser than. And they have like a lot of my siblings have a really hard time just getting along with a lot of the older people. And they see them as like, I don't want to say like rejects or something, but they see them differently, you know? And so even though they will, it's one thing to let someone come back and come to the church services. It's a whole nother thing to welcome them back as a family and let them be a part of things, you know, and stuff like that. And just like my mom, she lost her job, and like there's a lot of struggles and difficulties that come with trying to balance that line of like, you know, leaving the order and coming back and figuring out basically what their standpoint is on it. And the order, I don't know, they'll take it as it is. They'll let you come back, but I feel like it'll never fully be the same. But I don't know. It's also different for different individuals. It's not always the same for everybody. So
That's interesting. I wonder. So during that church service, where was the third wife? Because I saw my two aunts.
well, she was probably, you were pretty young, so she was probably young. You probably just thought she was like one of the kids.
What do
or
you mean I was
something.
pretty young? That was only like 5 years ago. I feel like maybe it was more than that.
What? Well, anyways,
Dylan would have
the
been like.
third wife usually, I wouldn't be surprised if sometimes she would sit in a couple rows in front or behind us. Because, you know, we had too many to just have all the families
that's
in
the
those
other
rows
wife.
or whatever.
These are the
Or-
ones I care about.
Well,
So messed up.
well,
I'm
and-
sorry. What's the what? Tell me a good answer for that. That's as good as it
well,
gets,
also,
right?
my dad only has two hands. I remember the first wife would be on one side, the second wife would be on the other. But, like, you can't...
Just
I
like
don't know
you
where
only
you
have
put the third wife. It's...
Everyone
Be quiet.
wanted. It just makes sense. You have
Oh,
one.
man.
It's 1 and 1. It's not 1 and 4. It's not 1 and 2. It's not 1 and 14. It's 1 and 1. I'm sorry.
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 No, it's
Maybe
fine.
I should.
I should have prepped you a little bit more. But
What do you
this is
mean
good.
prepped
I like
me? What do you mean
like
prepped me?
seeing
Oh.
your viewpoint, and like I said, feel free to just share whatever you want, because what I want the most from this is just for it to be able to be like unedited. It's just our thoughts. It's what comes to our mind, how like, you know, a non-member reacts to certain things from it. And it's fine. I think there's nothing wrong with us sharing how crazy we think it is, or I don't know, trying to even fully comprehend everything. I feel like that's how it is for a lot of people. For some people, they make them pay money to go back. Yeah, that was, if you watched Escaping Polygamy, you'd see them give the offer to the people, like describing how much they had to pay or what it would be like if they did go back and stuff like that. And it's funny because they're like, oh, you need to come back. Like, this is the kingdom of God, but you have to do all these things to come back and stuff like that. So it's kind of funny. But yeah, for girls, I feel like it's generally a lot easier. Just like, I don't want to say it's an argument, but like, I have discussions with people all the time of how dramatically different it is for guys versus girls being in the order. And it's way different.
It's like, it's
two
kind
different
of
worlds.
sad
So.
that all you have to do to a girl is just get her pregnant and you got her stuck, because she's not going to want to leave those babies. You know what I mean? A guy can leave whenever he wants. He can do whatever the flip he wants. He can go have as many babies with whoever he wants. But not those girls. And you know what? I think that is totally the opposite. Because a girl, if a girl is in the her right place, that she will do amazing things. And a guy is supposed to help with that.
Mm-hmm.
Not
And
do that.
if you watched Amanda's live, then she was talking about how the women should not be afraid of being independent, doing their own things, because literally in the order, you're practically doing that already. They have you take care of all the kids, the whole family, and they still have you work. Like, they don't cut you a break. You don't get to be a stay-at-home mom. They have you already being a superwoman mom. And so it's like, you're already well-trained to be able to survive on your own and
Seriously,
be independent.
what do they
Do
want
your
them
own
to
stuff.
do?
So.
Do everything?
And yeah,
They're
Amanda
ready
pointed
to
out
everything.
some of the wives even pay for their husband's schooling or for their husband's stuff. It's like the women are very used in so many
Everybody
ways.
is just a price tag, huh? Until they get.
Welcome, Russ. Russ says, work is over. Time for some tea. Hey, ladies and
Russ.
gents.
Aw.
Welcome, Russ. Heck yeah.
Sorry,
Oh,
I feel like I
yeah.
have to apologize. I
We
have
got
been
our
kind of
tea.
heated and rude, huh? I need to like.
What kind of tea are you drinking, Russ?
That makes me want russet potatoes. I want to go make some potato wedges.
Heck yeah. More children equal more people building the kingdom. Also, think about it. Their dad probably wanted to welcome her back. I guarantee it's to show them the kids that left who's boss. Well, and think about this. It takes 3 wives to go into the celestial kingdom, according to them. He just lost one of his wives. So, like, frick, he was fighting for his ticket to heaven, basically, you know? Like, I feel like he would have done anything to get her back. So, yeah, there's a lot of different motives behind it. And so I'd love to hear his point of view on that. I wonder if, like, what was more motivating to him, you know? Like, his own personal salvation, or was his brothers hounding him, being like, oh, you need to get your wife back here. Like, you can't have her be doing that. You know, keep your wife in check, stuff like that, you know? Who knows?
You just want to see people happy, and it doesn't seem like a genuinely happy person to me. You know? I don't know.
Well, here's where I give my dad the benefit of the doubt, because his dad was the exact same way to him, if not worse, you know? His dad had even more wives. His dad, he probably saw his dad less than once a month, you know? Like, so rare that to him, it is normal. He's probably looking at me and being like, Eskel, flip, I see you 10 times more than my dad saw me. Like, I was a good dad, you know? Because his perception of it is from only what he knows, you know? Like, he only sees what he grew up around and what his experience was. And, like, the sad part is my dad is really bad at putting himself in somebody else's shoes. He always expects other people to put themselves in his shoes and see his perspective and understand, but he doesn't put himself in the other person's shoe and figure out how he could relate to them or understand from their perspective, you know? So it's a little bit different. If any of you guys that are on my Patreon, oh my goodness, the last like 4 videos I put on my Patreon, I was talking about how that discussion I had with my dad and how much it like kind of hurt me for him to not even in the slightest bit apologize or like see from my perspective, even a teeny bit. Like, I was just hoping that he would in some degree, some way be like, oh, I understand at least this aspect, or like, I can see where you're coming from or something. But he didn't in the slightest. And that really bothered me because I thought that he was kind of like coming around. I thought that he was becoming more accepting and welcoming to me and stuff like that.
Well, that's just how a conversation works. A conversation is 2 sides, right? It's one person, it's not.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
It's super interesting. And yeah, he was raised that way. Maybe that's all he knows, you know? That's the only way he knows how to make everything justified in his head and stuff like that. So it's kind of interesting. I missed something. Who is Abigail? I guess I introduced you, but I never let you introduce yourself. How do you introduce yourself to people? What would you say?
I'm Eskel's cousin. We're cousins.
Yeah. How old are you? I know how old you are, but
23. I'm 23.
Sweet. 23. She's got 2 kids, 2 beautiful daughters. She lives in Idaho. That's where we're at right now. Beautiful scenery. It's a little bit rainy right now, but it's fun. I've been just kind of like going on trips and visiting and stuff. You're good. You want to show them your food? I
do, because I want to eat it.
I talked about this on the last live that she was with me. She is kind of like is it rude to say health fanatic or something like that?
No, I like
she loves being super healthy, basically.
No, I want to be. That is what I try to be. So I try really hard. Is that my go? That I can eat my food now?
Nice. If you want, feel free. Like, I love eating her food too. She always makes really good food that's also healthy too. So I like that.
That's the goal. Food should be good and healthy.
I can't believe your dad let you anywhere near an order dance or anywhere near order boys, Abigail. That's one thing. I'm kind of
surprised too.
I want to ask her dad. I mean, he's totally fine with me sharing this information. I want to know if, like, Arlen, if you're watching, like, we should do a little interview. I want to ask you some questions because, like, I know you pretty well. I lived with you for a long time, and I'm really curious if you were like, I'm sure you were super careful letting Abigail like be around that and stuff. But I wonder what was going through your head. You know, what is your view of the order, and how did you balance your sister going and joining that and like stuff like that? You know, I wonder how that went.
You know, he supported her leaving. I mean,
supported her leaving the order.
You know that he doesn't like it.
Oh yeah.
He doesn't want his sisters to do that.
Yeah, definitely. And so I bet it was hard for him. I bet it was tough because, like, he didn't even know that she got married. Like, he had to figure out years later and stuff like that. So I'm sure that was tough, but that'd be interesting. But anyways, if you're up for it, I'd love to do one with you. They would totally let you in with your kids. Yeah, they probably would, especially because she got 2 girls. If you had 2 boys, maybe they'd question it, but you got 2 girls.
You know what's kind of funny,
Come on
guys?
in.
I just thought this was kind of cool. Eskel's mom, Eskel's family has 5 girls, 5 boys, and so does mine.
Oh yeah, that's an interesting thing, yeah. And people are asking, was Abigail's dad ever in the order? No. He's only associated with the order because his dad and his sisters were
I would really only say he's only associated with the order because his sisters married into it. If you want to go back, the second way he's related, he has some history with some family members who kind of dabble.
Well, yeah, and it's wrong. I think it's incorrect to say our grandpa was an order member because he was only an order member for the last year of his life.
But he was manipulated to do it. I mean, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he was manipulated. He didn't want to.
Well, and it's funny because like he lived 70 years of his life not being an order member, and it just so happens the last couple of years, right before like when he's basically losing his memory and stuff, that's when he supposedly joined the order, and it's like, I don't know, that's pretty debatable.
I know my dad was mad about that. Mad that his sister had to go crazy and decide that she wanted to manipulate him. That's exactly how he saw it. I think. I'm pretty sure. Can't speak for him, but that's what he told me. Nobody should manipulate anybody for anything, even if it's a good cause. This should be their own free will and choice. Right.
Ooh, this one's interesting. M. Smith says, watching the episode of Amanda's wedding, deep down I felt like there was potential for him, Verl, my dad, to be a great dad. And Eskel talked about he showed up to the B-Day party and even paid. Yeah, see? It's so interesting because like that. I think Amanda's wedding was the only time my dad was on one of the episodes, and like he almost seemed like he was what's the word? Coming around, I guess, or like gonna be nice about us leaving and stuff like that. And then when he came to my birthday party, like I was pretty surprised, and I don't want to say like I was excited about it or like necessarily happy, but I was like, dang, maybe he is like wanting to be nicer. Maybe things are changing, maybe he wants to be my buddy. I don't know.
Well, I was curious because you didn't mention it was because that your mom was telling him that you wanted to come back, right? That's what you told me.
That could be a possibility. Maybe, which I don't want to believe that because I hate thinking that my dad loves me on the condition that I join the order, that I'm going to come back. But if I don't, or if I cut all my ties, then he doesn't love me, like he doesn't want to ever talk with me, never wants to be around me. It's like most of my life I felt like I pretty much know my dad's love to me is on condition, but I just was hoping that like, maybe he did care about me, or maybe he did miss me, because, everyone I feel like has that want to feel loved, I guess, and stuff like that, but it's just, I feel like he's done so many things to make it a little too obvious that it's only if I'm going to come back, so it's kind of interesting.
Interesting. I'm just happy that Eskel got to live with me. That was so cool for my cousin to move in with me and my cool cousin.
Oh yeah, how is that? Because I remember being like, please let me just come live with you guys. Like, I want to be able to see what it's like being around a normal family, see what it's like, how you guys interact and stuff. And I was so excited to come in and just like stay with you guys. And I got to work on you guys' farm a little bit. I got to work with your dad.
You were so awesome. Helpful. Like he would just be doing my dishes for me. I'm like, I love this. I feel like it was a kind of unfortunate where it was a time of our life where we were kind of busy, like you lived at my house for 5 years, but I really only was there with you for like 2 years of it because you went on your mission and then I went to college and we were busy with high school. So, I mean, we were there, but...
Yeah, but I feel like that was so good for me because I was adapting, figuring out what, like, the type of person I am, what I want to do with my life, what kind of goals I want to set, and I had her parents to kind of, like, be substitute parents for me, to be able to sit me down and talk about goals and just kind of, like, be there for me. So, I thought I've always appreciated that, and I thought...
But you've always had pretty good goals. I mean, like... My dad gave you ideas, but you didn't follow any of them. No, just kidding. You went to college.
But he helped me to plan and like at least sit down and write stuff down. He gave you a car. And he helped me feel so supported. Like we want to help you to accomplish your goals. We want to help you understand how important these things are and how important planning is and stuff like that. So, they were a huge help. I will always like appreciate them and love them.
And honestly, like when you, I mean, I don't know if you still do it for the longest time. I don't know why, just because it's like, I don't know. I mean, I want to, don't get me wrong, but you would always introduce me as like your sister, and I would just say, oh, this is my cousin. But when we were together, you're like, oh, this is my sister.
Well, especially in the beginning, because it was so painful to tell people like, oh, my parents kind of like, I don't see them anymore. I don't really have parents. My family's all gone and away. But it was so much easier to be like, this is my adopted family. This is my new family. These are my new parents. These are my siblings. Like, I just felt more like, I don't know. It just was felt so good to be able to say that to people and just feel like I was wanted in a home and in a family and to be a part of all of it. Because honestly, if I didn't have that, I would have broken down so much more. I feel like it would have been so much harder to just stay positive and to stick to my goals and just to like, keep going with a positive attitude and enjoying life. And so they allowed that for me. They provided that and it was awesome. I think that was great. But yeah, maybe it was different for you guys because I just kind of jumped in like my new family, woo! And I don't know how it was for you guys, but
I loved it.
I really enjoyed it.
Kind of like the dream, It was like having a friend living with you all the time.
Mm-hmm. Was Abigail closer with your mom or your dad's first wife? Ooh, that's a good question.
Second wife. I was closer to the second wife.
Mm-hmm. So my mom.
Mm-hmm. Your mom.
Nice. Okay. Do you know why that was at all? Was the first wife a little bit strange, or did she just not hang out with you guys as much, or like?
She was nice when you came to her things. Your mom was more accepting because your mom came to our house.
Mm-hmm.
The other one never even came to our. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like I would talk. She would ask me questions. I would talk to her. I mean, she was very friendly to me when I came to the church because probably she wanted me. I don't know. I don't want. I hate saying that she wanted me to join, but whatever. But yeah, I was closer with. I did a lot more stuff with. Heck, she took me out to like, shopping and maybe she just wanted somebody to hang out with. I don't really know, but yeah, I was really close there.
Nice. Melanie Brown is asking how much is your Patreon. I have 2 tiers. I have like a $3 one and a $9 one. The $3 one you get most of it, but the $9 one I have that because sometimes I do lives or like post certain things that I need to delete shortly after because I just want to get information out there and I want to get help from people that want to help, but I don't want the order members, I guess, to get access to it, you could say. And so when Patreon's nice because I can see everyone that's viewing it and watching it. Anyone can join, like sign up and join and like be a part of it, but I can like keep track. I can see who's in it and then when someone joins, and so I can kind of tell like what if I'm familiar with the names, I can tell if the order members or not, and I can I can end it and delete it if like I notice that an order member's watching or something like that. It just to me it's not a huge deal, but there's sometimes personal private content that I want to share or that I'm asking for you guys' help with certain things, and so that's what I use that one for the most. Ooh, somebody added a donation.
Aww.
What's Lyceum? Oh, heck yeah. It's Liam. Heck yeah. Thank you, Liam. You're the best. That's so nice of you. Good content, making good of weird cult stuff. I may be a partial to the guest. Heck yeah.
Thank you, honey.
That's so nice of him.
So sweet. Yeah, my husband has a YouTube channel. You can go check him out. He reads lots of books, lots of fantasy books, and does reviews on those. So that's a plug. Oh yeah,
he's a huge reader. He's read like everything. But that's so cool. Lulu says, unfortunately, I don't think a lot of the order understands unconditional love. You wouldn't cut family off if that was the case. Most religions I know of believe it's God's right to judge. It's God's right to judge. So yeah. It's funny because I do think the order is overly confident in playing God all the time. I don't know how they can be that, but they'll like easily be like, oh, this person's probably gonna make it to heaven. This person's most likely gonna go to hell. Like they're too confident in their ability to like just determine people's fate for them all the time. I always thought that was so weird. It's just kind of interesting, but I guess if they're told all the time, oh, thank you. If they're just around people like that, maybe it just becomes easier and like. I don't know. I feel like how can you play God? You can't necessarily know what other people's fate is gonna be or like where people are gonna go and all that. But yeah, it's kind of interesting. I'm not. That's why I won't make assumptions. Just from the stories from Eskel and Amanda, it just seems she is more accepting of them leaving on and off. You're probably talking about my mom. I'm not supposed to talk about my mom on these anymore, you guys.
Can I say something about your mom?
Yeah, you can say whatever you want. It's up to you. It's up to you.
I appreciate how. I mean, because Eskel's mom, like, acts probably more like me to a certain extent. Like, she's very it's her kids. She does love her kids. You can tell that, and so she is a lot more. Like, she wants to see her kids, so she will not tell who she will sneak them around, and I appreciate that. You know what I mean? Like, that she'll come around at a certain point and be like, I know you weren't supposed to come over, but you can come over when your dad's not here to come say hi to me and give me a Mother's Day gift because I love you, and then you gotta go. You know what I mean? Like, I appreciate that. That's all I want to say.
Yeah, and it's funny because, like, when I first started doing these lives, my mom was just like, don't say anything mean about me. So I tried to ignore any of the bad things that would happen and just be like, oh, I love my mom, yada. Try to only say positive, good things. And then she was like, well, the order thinks that I'm supporting you now, Eskel, so you can't say even just any of that. Don't mention me on your channel. And so I'm like,
your mom doesn't
alright, sorry. Mom. I love you, Mom, but yeah, I'll try to avoid talking about you from now on, I guess.
The emphasis is try. Try means nothing.
Lulu says, yeah, Melanie Brown, I just can't comprehend not talking to my children or family just because they don't agree with my choices, but my family loves to agree to disagree. Yeah. And that's the thing. I feel like ever since I left, I've gotten way more understanding of agreeing to disagree because it's a lot of the times you can both be right from each of your perspective, like because of your background, the way you grow up, the way your belief system works, then you can be right at the same time as the other person fully understands and thinks that they are right,
Say that again. Like, you have a right to your own opinion.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
You have a right to your own opinion. Mm-hmm. Don't let anybody tell you differently.
Yeah. And that's, I don't know, that's something that I feel like is inevitable in the world today. If you're going to get along with people, you're going to have to be able to see from their perspective, understand that they might believe something that is right that you don't believe is right. And to them, it might truly 100% be the right
trying,
thing.
Guys.
So, yeah. Yep.
Well, some people more than others, but... I'm going to die now.
You okay? Do you need some tea?
I drank like 2 cups already.
Dang. I personally couldn't, but my family is like that too. Yeah, I mean, that's one thing I learned too. There's a lot of different religions and groups and just families in general that sometimes are just, it's too easy for them to just cut off family members, It's like people that just, I don't know, they get in fights a lot and it's kind of rough. But I love the family dynamics that are like, family is everything. I love families. Like, they're always welcoming. They're always so, like, just wanting to be involved. And
well, you did mention to me, remember the first things you said about a Mormon church. The first time you'd been to a Mormon church, I was kind of talking about a different religion, but my religion, that your mom took you before you came to mine, and you liked how everybody loved each other. Like, in their family, they were hugging on each other. They loved each other. They liked to sit together, I mean, like, you liked that.
Yeah. Yep. It was definitely very different to me. And it was, yeah, I think because, like, for a lot of people that leave the order, one thing they notice in other families is, like, the love that they show, how kind they are. And I think you kind of notice and pay attention more to things that you maybe lacked in your, like, childhood, or some things that you maybe wanted growing up, because that's just something that stood out to me a lot. I feel like that was, I don't know, I just noticed it, and I kind of longed for that in a lot of ways. And so anytime I saw it, I was like, wow, that is so cool. But, yeah. Lulu says, that's sad, Melanie, but I believe that some family or ex-friends you're better off without. Surround yourself with people that love you, support you. Yeah, and I mean, I'm a believer in that. I feel like there are points where someone is going to be either too much for you to handle, or maybe, like, you can't spend a lot of time with them and stuff like that. But I think, like, it's hard because with family, like a lot of people be like, oh, if your family does any sort of drugs or anything like that, then like cut them off, never let them be around, stuff like that. It's like a lot of the times when family members or just loved ones are struggling, that's when they really need extra support and help. And you, as their family, like you, I feel like can kind of be around them and help them without them necessarily, like, I don't know, hurting you or making a bunch of problems and stuff like that.
You know that quote? I
so-
love that quote. I don't think it's never said enough, but like, I mean, there's lots of good quotes. Like somebody who feels appreciated is gonna do more than what's expected. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's like.
And we all need each other. Like it definitely goes both ways. When you're helping out family members, then like they should be willing and want to be around you and spend time with you and help you out and stuff like that. And so I feel like that's what family's all about.
I got like
That's
chocolate in my main pipe permanently. 'Cause that's
Do
why I
you
don't eat
think
chocolate.
numbered men watch your videos? Yeah, I'm pretty sure my dad watches them, but I think maybe less because I would not be surprised if like because I was in the order when
It's just
Escaping
gonna make them mad. They
Polygamy-
can't do anything. Sorry.
Well, I was in the order when Escaping Polygamy first started airing, and they gave an announcement. They were talking about how Escaping Polygamy is so bad, and the people that go there are selling their soul to be on TV and stuff like that, you know, and like just made it sound like the worst of the worst and just a horrible thing. So I would not be surprised if they talk about these channels or like the content that we're putting out, and they talk about it being like of the devil and really bad, and you should never watch it and all that stuff. So I don't know. I'm sure some of them watch it, and clearly Order members watch it because they comment and stuff like that. But I would not be surprised if they talk about it in such a horrible light that they just make it sound like it's the worst thing you could possibly watch, you know, stuff like that. So, yeah, I don't know. But I also, on the other side, I wouldn't be surprised if they like assign someone to watch these videos and like report back to them, let them know like what we're up to, what we're doing and stuff like that, you know, just so that they would be in the know or something like that.
You guys gonna what?
Eskel, how does your family feel about you joining the mainstream church? If you're talking about like the LDS church, well, it's every individual is a little bit different, but I remember when my dad found out that I was even just visiting the church and like secretly meeting up with the LDS missionaries, he sat me down. He was like, that is the church of the devil. Like that is the worst of the worst. Like those are such bad people to be around. They're going to be bad influences. They're going to teach you all the wrong things. So that was his viewpoint on that. And I think that's a big part of what made me like the LDS church so much is because he painted such a dark and horrible picture of the LDS church that when I went there and I was like, whoa, he was so wrong. Like, oh my goodness. Like, he needs to come see this. Like, he must not know.
Daddy,
Like,
Daddy, you're so wrong.
it was just definitely a huge contrast
Sorry,
for
that's
me.
funny.
So that was his viewpoint. And then each individual is different. Like my mom was like, it's a good church. Like I understand. Like, and my mom was like, it seems a lot like the order. Like the order came from the LDS church. Like they're very similar in a lot of ways. They're more like a modern version of the order and stuff like that. Like that was kind of my mom's viewpoint of it. And then some of my siblings were like, it was weird because a few of my siblings would talk about it and be like, well, if the order is right, then the LDS church can't be right, like no question, you know. So like even though they might seem good and seem all right, like they just can't be right because the order is correct, you know. And so I think a lot of them just didn't even question it because if you truly believe the order is the kingdom of God, then another church can't be that, you know. Which is kind of funny because I feel like growing up, I remember hearing all the time that there's only one true church. And I'd always be like, well, that can't be right. There's no way. There's all these other churches helping, doing good around the world. There's no way that only one of them is the right one. Like, there's so much good coming from all these other churches. Like, we got to open our eyes and realize that we can't be naive enough to believe that only one can be correct. Only one is guided by God when there's so much good that comes from so many others, you know? And so I feel like people just need to be a lot more accepting. Slore. Thank you, Slore.
Oh.
I wonder who that is. I've never heard that name before.
That's all I need. That.
No.
Ooh, Kim joined. Welcome, Kim. How are you doing?
I want some more questions from you guys because I
at
feel like
the
a little bit drained of all mine. Like, I mean, I'm sure there's lots of points that I kind of.
Ooh, this is a great
Right,
question. M. Smith. She says, How do your brothers treat you when you come home to visit your mom, or have they cut all ties? Is there even a weird vibe when you come around?
That is an interesting topic. I will leave that.
Well, here's the thing. I got to be really careful what I say here because I don't want to get my siblings in trouble at all. But I feel like I have to give them credit because even though I don't support the order, like I'm just putting myself in their shoes, okay? They are so dedicated. They are such good order members, you guys, that it's like I don't know why the order is mean to them. Like, look, they a lot of the times they won't talk to me. They understand the rules. They'll they'll be nice and respectful and they'll be like, oh hey Eskel, whatever. But they want so bad for the order members to accept them and just to be nice to them. And it's like I just wish that they would kind of choose me over the order, of course, but like I understand where they're from. I get it. They do feel like the order is right, and so they are really good order members. So I don't get to spend a lot of time with them. I rarely get to talk with them, and it makes me feel sad. But I understand. I've been there. I know what they are going through. So like I don't try to like persuade them to talk to me, or like I don't try to interfere with them. Being a good order member, I think that it's good for them. Like if they want to do that, they are just, I don't know. I feel like our family, like once we are set on something, we are really good at like accomplishing it and sticking to our goals and doing what we need to do. You know, like Amanda has such a drive that like her YouTube channel is doing so good. She's like really great at expressing herself and doing the research to show the evidence and explain what she's trying to get across. And I feel like that's the same for my siblings that are still in the order. They are dedicated. They are really good order members. And even though I personally don't believe in that and I wish it could be a little different, I have to give them credit. Like they are really good people and I admire them for that. So that's what I'm going to say on that. Let's see. I did some grocery shopping, so I missed some. I have to be kind and rewind. LOL. Nice. Oh, we got another donation. Leah Kelly. Thank you so much. I like how she puts the goal. What is that? GIF or whatever. That looks so fun. And then Elsie, thanks for being on today, Eskel. You are rocking it, dude. Thank you. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. I love being able to have these lives and share these stories and getting your guys' feedback. It's awesome. And I love the donations. I appreciate it so much. It's always so nice when I know that you guys are supportive. I know that you guys are on my lives and you guys are so helpful and kind. And then you guys even go the extra mile with getting things like for Dylan. You guys are so willingly getting things for those that have left and sending packages and just helping out in any way that you can and sending donations. And it's just so cool to see. I love that. Thank you guys so much. Melanie Brown says, Abigail, has Eskel's parents treated you differently since Eskel moved in with your family? Ooh. How would you describe that?
I feel like my relationship with them has been like more of a game piece a little bit, you know what I mean? Because it's like...
You know what's so weird about that? So, there was an order wedding going on, right? Someone was getting married, and I wanted to go to it because I knew the person, and I was like, come on, maybe I can, like, I don't know, play the line and just try to be nice to them to go to this one wedding, and they officially uninvited me to the wedding, right? And I was like, dang it. But literally, if Abigail wanted to go, she could have gone.
That is
no
so
problem.
Stupid to
it's
me
like,
that I would like
what?
get dressed for a second if I could. I mean, I can't spend much time thinking about it because it's just one of those things that just make me mad. I mean, like, I don't feel like it's okay. I don't feel like it's wrong to say who this person, I mean, not the name, but whatever. You have to say, can I just say it is...
Well, don't say any names.
I can't say names. But I can say it was your brother, right?
I don't know if we should say that, but anyways. It's
whatever.
But
He could. Okay, listen. It was my cousin. I didn't get an invite to to my cousin's first wife's wedding because it was in order and they were trying to hide something like that. That whole idea just doesn't make any sense, which is why I don't even visit
here's the thing.
Because...
That dynamic is weird because I think maybe they didn't send an invite because they didn't want to feel like they were inviting me because I was kind of now a part of your family.
So maybe also was that not my invitation?
If you would have showed up, you could
couldn't.
have been there, no problem. They wouldn't have cared at all. Yeah.
Oh, they'd have said, walked up to me and be like, you need to leave.
What? No, if I went, they would have done that to me and asked me to leave. But you're their cousin.
They probably would have been like, how'd you find us? I'd be like, because your brother told me you're getting married and he's really upset he can't go, so I'm just coming to say hi because I can. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I think that's why I can't talk about it because it's just like.
But what I don't get is how. I mean, I like that you're so passionate about it, but they are. I mean, I feel like they're pretty nice to you. Like they.
No,
don't
they're
think they
super
do
nice. I
things
love
mean
your
to you.
siblings.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw your mom when we went for your birthday,
You gotta
and
beep this out. Beep. We didn't say that.
no,
Okay?
for your birthday.
Just kidding.
That was
Oh,
December.
the
You
birthday
did
one.
it.
Yeah.
And you
I guess
know,
that
we
was
jumped
back
in
in
the
the-
car. Hey, how you doing? What's up? You know, good to see you. I'm like, you're my cousin. Like, that's how it's supposed to be. So I'm not gonna act differently.
Hey, someone commented actually. Maybe it is okay if we talk about it. Because someone just asked, how did you guys react to the weddings and stuff like that? For me, here's the thing. Like I said, I don't support the order at all. But a lot of the times I sound like I do because I support my siblings. Like, flip, I feel like my siblings are good people. And I feel like they are trying their best to be a good person and do things the way they feel is right in the order. So when I wanted to go to some of the weddings and stuff like that, I wanted to. I wanted to go there. I wanted to be there for my siblings. I wanted to let them know that I love them and I care about them, even though we see things differently and we have different beliefs. And so it really did. It broke my heart when they officially uninvited me to them. And I was just like,
I was there,
I just
guys.
wanted
I
to
was
give you
there
a gift, you guys. I
with
just wanted
the
to buy you
phone
stuff.
call.
Come on.
Yeah. He gets his call. He's like, he's calling me. It's supposed to be. I'm like, this is not gonna be a good thing.
I was so excited, and I was just like, I don't know. It was definitely bittersweet, but I guess I should have known. I should have known not to expect too much, and I guess that there was a rare chance of me to go.
It's really
but-
weird. I mean, I don't want anybody to get offended by this, but I have to point it out. Like when I saw your brother and his wife, it was a little PDA because like people
Whoa! Don't
act
talk about that. Come on.
Why
No.
not?
We're gonna talk about something else.
It's
'cause
not normal like that. But
Crystal
you were telling
asked
me.
a really good question. Crystal says that she doesn't want to ask a lot of questions because she doesn't want to ask something that would bother you. Here's the thing. You guys can ask anything you guys want. I have to be a little bit careful with some of the things I say and not offend too many people. But you guys can say whatever you want. There is no filter or limit to what you guys can say, okay? Other than offensive things. And the chat's set up that if something really offensive is posted, it like comes to me and I have to approve of it first or I'll deny it if it's like super rude or something. But yeah, you guys should not feel like you have to filter. I hate filtering myself. I like being an open book, just talking about anything. I don't like filtering stuff, but I know that my situation does require it somewhat in certain situations. So it's fine, but I don't want you guys to feel like that at all. I want this to be a, what is it, like a open space? What's the word for that? A free space? What? I don't know how to describe it, but I want it to be a comfortable space where you can be stress-free, you can share whatever you want, you guys can talk about anything, okay? So don't feel like you have to filter anything at all. Ask any questions you want.
Reason, yeah. Wait, okay. I feel like I should just stop talking at this point.
No, it's fine. I like hearing your perspective. I think
You
it's really
keep
good.
saying that. It's a good perspective. It's
Mhm.
an
Well,
interesting perspective.
I just don't want to feel at all that I'm bashing on certain people because
Well,
I've
I'm not
already made it
bashing on
clear
certain
that I don't
people.
agree with the order and a lot of their teachings. Like I feel like that's already been stated, so that's well known. But of course, I don't know. I want to share information to make it transparent, to make sure everyone knows what's going on. I wish everyone could just share everything and everyone could know and not have to hide or keep any secrets. That would be the best. That would be my ideal situation. But I also don't want to get anyone in trouble. I don't want to cause fights or problems like that. So,
Well, I
yeah.
mean, I feel like yeah.
Leah says, yes, we are, and it's the least we can do. He sure gives so much to us. Aw, thank you, Leah. I think Leah is on a lot of my lives, and it's super fun to be able to see how much she like gets joy out of like supporting and helping and donating and all that kind of stuff. It's really cool. I think that's awesome. Kim says, Melanie, that's a good question. Oh, I hope that's the one that we addressed, right? Parents treated you. Oh yeah, we did address that one. That was a great question. Yeah, thanks for asking. Let's see. So is it just your mom, her sister, and brother in the family, or are there more kids? Yeah, do you want to share your dad's like family dynamic at all? I know it's a little bit
So,
complicated, but
He just has 3 brothers and 3 sisters, right?
so there's 6 in total, right? Okay, nice.
Yep.
And 2 actually, out of his 6 siblings became a part of the order.
His two
So,
sisters, yep.
Yeah, his two sisters.
When his third one was almost, which I just learned a couple days ago. The third almost got stuck, but she said, I can't do this, so she didn't do that. And then, yeah.
Kim says, it's unfortunate to me that people who aren't in the order can't communicate with anybody who is not a part of the order. Yeah.
It's kind of dumb.
Kind of
Yeah,
interesting. But, and yeah, it's weird too, because like that's the rule, but just like that, there's certain cousins or certain relative connections that you can talk to and you can invite, because the order's trying to grow. They're trying to get people to come. They're just so picky on the ones that they will talk to and that they do want to try to bring in, that it's like, it feels kind of pointless, I feel like.
You guys can always message me too. I have a public Instagram that I will happy to ask your questions. Answer questions.
Leah says, cool, I just re-downloaded the app for Facebook on my phone, but I hardly ever go on it unless it's to piss off my right-wing family by posting left-wing stuff. Haha. Okay. Nice.
I like you.
Just laugh it off, Eskel. There you go. It helps. I feel like, I don't know, when life gets too serious, I love telling jokes or just like not taking it super seriously, because at the end of the day, like, it's all your reaction to whatever's happening is almost more important and affects you more than the actual thing that is happening most of the time. So it's like, if you can have a positive outlook, if you can just take it as it is and like still be a joyful person, that matters so much more than whatever the person or situation is that's happening. So
you know you're gonna have those bad days. So
what part of Idaho are you in? Well, Abigail's address is 568. No, just kidding. No.
Come to my house and I'll make you some muffins.
Okay? Nice.
Message me on Instagram.
John's here.
Maybe I'll tell you.
Welcome, John. John has a YouTube channel, Magic Life. I wanted to ask John if I could interview him too. He has a really cool story. He was on Escaping Polygamy. He has an awesome YouTube channel as well. What did he say? These lives are awesome. Make sure to hit the like button. Thanks, John. Heck yeah. John is super supportive too. He's fun. I got to hang out with him right after his birthday and all that. That was really fun. Has Abby been to LA or Las Vegas? Have you?
No. Las Vegas, Nevada. Yes, I have. Wait.
You've been to Las Vegas, Nevada? Like,
yes,
with
like the strip.
All the lights and the strip and all that.
Yeah, yeah, I have been.
Not very often, because she barely knows what it is.
I went one time. Yes, on New Year's Eve.
Have you been to California, like LA, like where Hollywood is and all that?
I lived in California for a couple of years when I was a little baby. My dad was going to school. I was born there. Yeah, but then I remember the beach. I want to go back to the beach.
Beaches are awesome. I love
Washington.
the coast. Man.
I want to go see Texas. I want to see everything.
Oh, David Smith commented. He says, when I showed up at my brother's wedding, I wasn't told to leave, but they were basically asking me why I was there. Yeah. It's funny, because sometimes, like that, like a lot of the times they're just making up the rules as they go. So sometimes you'll do something and it's like, they don't know if they should ask you to leave. They don't know if maybe like you might be trying to come back or something, you know, like, yeah. Sometimes
it's interesting. I mean, I will say that like, it was kind of nice to be wanted, you know, I mean, in a way, I mean, I know it was kind of for the wrong. I feel like I don't want to say that like it was to get back at my dad or whatever, you know, to see if they could get one of their, anyway, but whatever. It was nice to be like, hi, how are you doing? Do you want to come?
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up, because I always wondered, because this might sound a little bit sexist or something, I'll try to, but girls, I'm sure, like getting hit on in a way,
I'm sure that's how a lot of them stay, because they're like,
feel like that to you?
We need you, you're so important, and the girls want to be needed, and they are needed. Until they're married, and then they don't need you anymore.
Well,
they still need you, but they're not like.
They need your body, not your personality. Just kidding.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's no matter. I guess you're guaranteed if you're a girl to be liked no matter what. Is basically kind of what I'm trying to say. You're gonna be wanted. You're gonna be needed. I guess.
Ooh, that's a good question, Numa. She says, "How long did you get to stay with Abigail's family before you got a place of your own?" So when I first left the order, I lived with my sister Rachel for like, I don't know, 2 or 3 months. Then I went to Colorado, stayed with your family for 5 years. Then I got my own apartment and just started doing my own thing. So it was nice. And yeah, 5 years is a long time. That's why I felt like they were my family. I was super close to everybody. It was an awesome time. It's such a hard line to sit on. I know. It's okay, Eskel. You're doing well. Yeah, it gets complicated. It's because there's no like direct rules, and you know how it's like up to a lot of the families, like people's opinions and views of you change all the time. So it's such a hard balance to figure everything. And the church themselves, the order is changing over time and adapting and like getting a lot more millennials and a lot more of the younger kids that are like growing up and having like fighting back a little bit, I would say, so like the order has to adjust, change a little bit, figure out how to accommodate for these things. So
if anything, I'm just super proud of like Eskel for his, I know I've said this before, but his gumption or whatever it is to just
gumption
to follow what you think is right, you know what I mean? And that's what I like about you. You try, like you motivate me. Yeah.
But yeah.
What?
Are you done?
Are we done, Eskel? Ask this guy.
We're getting pretty close. Let's see how much time we're at. Oh, I don't even see.
Well, we've been probably going for about, an hour and a half.
It's been an hour and a half? Whoa. Dang.
Should call it a wrap, guys. I feel like I'm losing energy.
Oh, John says I can interview him anytime, so that'll probably be my next one, you guys. Well, this Wednesday, I have one scheduled already for my Patreon with someone that has never been affiliated with any polygamous group ever. So that one's going to be interesting. And then, yeah, maybe like next Sunday or something, I could meet up with you, John. I'll message you. I have your number, so that would be sweet. Heck yeah. Leah says, well, I'm here if you need someone to talk to. My religion was probably different, IBILP/IFB, but crazy religions are cray all around. Nice, yeah. One thing that I really appreciate is that even though I have this crazy background and I feel like I share my story with a lot of people, I am amazed at how many people can relate to me and how understanding people are. And like the biggest fear of like every person that leaves a cult is that people are gonna label them as, oh, he's just a cult boy, or like he's weird, or he doesn't understand the way the real world works and stuff like that. But so many people have been very understanding and super nice, and so to me, like, I feel like that is what like has been impressed upon me the most with interacting with just everyone in the world, in general, because we're all human beings. I feel like it's not that hard to see how much more similar we are than different in so many ways. And that's why I feel like I could not live my life in an organization where they're more used to like cutting everyone out and just being super picky about who's around them, rather than the opposite, with being super accepting and letting all sorts of every kind of people be around them and just figuring out how to coexist and get along and enjoy it too. Because you know how boring life would be if everyone around you was exactly like you? Like that would be horrible. Like I love the dynamic of meeting new people, having conversations with them that they'll share things that I have never in all my 24 years of life of being alive have ever thought or like fully comprehended. And they're able to share stuff in such a way that just kind of like opens my mind, and just, I don't know, it makes me so intrigued and excited about life. I just love it. I think that's been some of the most enjoyable times I've ever had in my life. And I'm so glad I get to go out into the world and experience these things, and to get more comfortable with the way people think and becoming people's friends, and being able to relate and bond and like build relationships with people. It's been awesome. I love it. Anyways.
But thank you guys. This has been so fun. I love talking about myself.
Ooh. Oh, Kim said something. She says, but if you love beaches, you should come to Long Island, New York. I work at one of the busiest beaches in New York. Really?
Ooh,
Kim, I might take you up on that. That sounds so fun. I've been to New York twice, and they were super short because New York's kind of expensive. But I literally, both times, I hitched a ride with somebody because they were going, and like I knew them well enough that they would just share their like hotel room with me, and the ride they were getting already, they just let me kind of like tag along. So I was able to basically turn $1,000 trip into a couple $100. And so it was awesome. And I loved it. I think New York is awesome and amazing. If I could afford it, I'd go there a lot more often. But yeah, it's a cool place. And I love the beaches. So I think that would be super fun to visit you and like see where you work and stuff like that, Kim. And I think that's a little bit of the answer to Lulu's question, because Lulu says, Eskel, you may have covered this before, but what was your decision process on returning to Utah? It was mostly finances, I would say. It was cheaper for me to come here. I was able to go to the university that I want, that I really like, for a lot better deal, a lot cheaper. And so it was really just a financial decision. And I knew a lot of people around here that I had connections with, and a lot of my, my sisters were here and stuff. And so I had a lot of connections to be able to, like, get jobs and just, like, do a lot of things. I felt like I had a lot more opportunity, I guess, here, because I knew people, I had connections with people, I was able to network really well with people here, so that was awesome. Leah, we were cross-section, yeah, I gotta look more into that. IBLP and the IFB church, that's interesting. How many years is Josh Duggar going to get? The sentencing is this week. Josh Duggar. Lulu says, Eskel, I'll be on with you, but will be at the hospital again, so may not be able to comment much depending on the time. Oh, that's fine, Lulu. I am just super happy when anyone can make it on. I think that's awesome. I'm sorry you're going to the hospital, though. That's rough. I hope it's nothing too crazy. I hope it goes well. Flicker Fade, Liam, I just snooped your YouTube channel and you need to read Gideon the Ninth by Tamsin Muir. As long as you're okay with lesbians, that is, it's an awesome and pretty fresh fantasy universe. I would not be surprised if he's already read that. Liam has read so many books, man. I cannot even keep up with it, but that's cool. That sounds like a fun book. Eskel, you and Amanda are so amazing, and we are all so proud of how wonderful the both of you have turned out, considering what you have had to endure. You give me hope for humanity. Aw, that's good. I originally wanted to start a YouTube channel just focused on like motivation and self-help and stuff, and I feel like with this, I kind of can, because it's all about, leaving cults, finding a better life, becoming a better you, and so I think that's kind of like what I want my message to be, like overall, for sure. Man, I am getting tired, you guys. The tea isn't giving me enough energy. I love how the tea helps soothe my voice, though, because I've talked a lot today. Like, I feel like I've done a lot of talking, and my voice doesn't hurt as bad as usual. And a lot of the times, the tea helps with that. I like that. Are you still doing interviews with people from the order? Yes, I'm gonna do like a whole insider segment and whatnot. It's definitely tough though, because it's all in secret. We have to do it very carefully, and so they literally pick the time and the place and everything, and I just have to make it work. So we have it scheduled. It's decently far out though, so it might be a little while, but yeah, those will be coming. I'm excited for those too, because I met up with the people just to like make sure, like, I don't know, they for sure understand like what's going to be happening, like what types of risks come with posting things online and stuff like that. So we kind of got our introductions out of the way, and now we're just getting ready. Like, I'm creating the list of questions to ask them. I'm going through a lot of you guys' comments and figuring out what you guys think would be interesting to ask them. So I'm looking forward to that. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. And yeah, seeing their viewpoint is interesting, because like I said, like there was a few lives ago that, man, I could not get over, because I had just recently met up with one of them and was just talking, and I could not get over some of the things that they had said and how mind-blowing it was, and I was just like, whoa, I gotta share this with everybody. Like, this is just wild. But Not me. Not my father-in-law is doing chemo. He goes every Wednesday and stays till Thursday. Thank you, though. I'm just the support. Aw, that's so nice of you, Lulu. Going there for your dad. That's awesome. Let's see. Dang. I think. I don't know where Abigail went, but I have like 2 more questions to ask her, and then we were supposed to finish. But she, I think she's helping her kids right now. But this is fun, you guys. I do think this is probably where I need to wrap it up. Call it good. Let's go like 2 more minutes. You guys can ask any last questions, and I will do my best to answer them. And of course, if I don't get to any of your questions, I do go back and reread a lot of them and just see which ones I want to put in my next videos and how to address them and stuff like that. Crystal says, I'm glad you do these lives, and it's definitely important work that you and Amanda do. Welcome back.
I'm sorry.
Sweet. Okay, so we are coming to the end now. So I just want to thank everyone for coming in and just ask. The last thing I usually ask everyone is if there's anything that you could say to the order members. Is there like a message that you'd want to give them, or something that you would, I don't know, want to share with them?
Yes, I think I feel like that. Okay, I just don't want it to be misinterpreted when I say this, because I think a lot of you guys are fighting, and I want to give you some hope. I don't want to make assumptions, but like, just try to do the right thing. You know, I'm proud of a lot of you for trying to do the right thing. I guess assuming that I'm just proud of you. How about that?
Oh,
not for, I mean, I don't want to be too blunt, but if you're hearing this message, it's because you have questions about the outside, right? You have questions about your religion. So being here, I'm proud of you for searching, because your church doesn't want you to be here listening to us. You know, we're not telling you how to think. We're just sharing our opinion. And so the fact that you want to, you know, that's how things happen. And so the fact that you are involved in this and making, you know, how many viewers do we have? 59. That's awesome. You know, like that we're taught, we as humans are supposed to talk. So, I mean, I don't know personal stories. So I'm proud of people who ask questions, and you order people on the fighters, I guess. And so fight for the right thing. Whatever that is, you find it, you fight for it, because you can do it.
Nice.
And I'm here to support you for the right things.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sweet. That's awesome. And I love sharing.
Yeah, sorry.
No, you're good. And my last thing, I always love sharing that if you live to be 80 years old, there's 29,000 days that you have. And so I think it's just super important to make every single one of those days count and make the most of it. So awesome. I think that's all I have to say. Thank you guys so much for coming to this live. Thank you for supporting my sister Amanda Ray and my channel. I love being able to interact with all of you guys, and I'm so glad you guys are interested in hearing these stories. Please consider subscribing and putting on the bell if you want to keep get notifications to get updates on my life and different order members that I've left, and the perspectives of those who I share and like tell their stories about different cults and organizations. So awesome.
Don't forget to like and subscribe and share.
Nice. Thank you. Sweet. Thank you, everyone. I hope you all have a great week, and I hope to see you next time.